Hey guys, it's Dana from Bright Red Marketing, and I just want to show you quickly how to use Typeform to do some market research. Now, when you log into Typeform, it's just typeform.com. I've got a link in the blog post. You'll end up with a screen like this once you've created your account. Now, really easy to use. Click on the giant plus sign, and you can either use a template or start from scratch. I like to start from scratch just because I like things really quite basic, but totally up to you. I'm just going to call this test so I can show you how it works and start building. So we've now created a new Typeform and it's going to open up like this. Now, as I mentioned, this is a free platform. There are some really cool functions in here if you've got the paid version. Things like adding in payment, adding in, welcome screens and things. So really quite an incredible piece of software, especially given that it's free. The paid version obviously does give you that extra functionality. Now, really cool. Essentially, all you do is drag and drop your questions in here. So you've got your basics, you've got short text, long text, just a statement if you want to add in something to kind of pre-frame people for your next question, a drop down, an email entry, a date, legal stuff. If you want someone's website, the payment from Stripe is a paid feature, so you won't have access to that. And just for your research, you won't really need that. File upload, I'm fairly certain is also a paid feature. So yeah, if it's a paid feature, it'll come up with this screen. But really helpful if you're in any kind of graphics or you want people's to upload a file for inspiration or anything. Number, opinion scale, rating, yes, no questions, question groups, picture choice, multiple choice. So the world really is your oyster with this software. For just basic customer research, I always like to just do long text. Just psychologically, it gives people a bigger box to put text in, which means they're more likely to actually put more text in, which when you're doing any kind of research is really what you want. So essentially, you just type in questions here. So type in questions, you can add in a description if you want. So if it's a little bit of a confusing question or you want to give them a little bit more context, you can add that in here. If you need them to give a certain length answer, you can add in a minimum number of characters. You can also add images, and you can also decide whether it's a required question. So in some of the surveys that I've run in the past, I'll make all of the questions required because I need those answers. And at the bottom, I'll have if you're seeing this and you're not already on my list and you want to be, here's where you can enter your email. And I get quite a good response with that. So when you've got your question, you just hit save. Now, really easy. You just keep dropping in questions. You just drag and drop them over here. Sorry, my computer's being a little bit slow today. But essentially, you just keep dragging and dropping them over. And you can kind of rearrange them. So I'm just going to come out of here. I have to actually do something. There you go. So my multiple choice is, what day is it today? Monday, or is it Tuesday? So now people can, pick what's here. Now, actually, some really cool things just here quickly while we're here. There's some really cool settings when you do things like multiple choice. So you can make it required, which is on all of the questions. You can also allow people to make multiple selections. So if you were asking, what software do you use, and there was 3 or 4 options, someone might use 2 of those. So adding that's really helpful because then you get a more accurate representation of the data. Randomizing is really cool if you don't want people to if you think people might just select the first one because it's easier. This means your data is more trustworthy. So once you've kind of gone through here, you can just play with them. They're all really simple. You can always rearrange them just by dragging and drop. And if you do want to edit them, you just click on them. Now, all you do from here is go across to the next tab. Sorry, quickly, there is a thank you screen, again, on the paid version. So just be aware of that. Now, in design, this is where it gets a little cool. You can customize it to your branding. Now, I always recommend keeping these things really clean and simple because they are, surveys. They're not there for craziness. You don't want people to get confused, or you don't want fonts to be illegible. So normally what I do is just come in here and change the button and answer fonts so that the color so that they match my branding. So that's normally the red. And then I make sure that the fonts match my branding. They don't always have your font. So if they don't have the font that actually matches your branding, either stick with theirs or just pick a really simple one. What is it? Lato and Railway are probably my favorites. So just pick something really simple if your brand font isn't in there. You can add a background image. I generally tend to recommend against that just because it does make it a little bit more cluttered. But if you've got, like a really muted background that you use in everything, that can be fine behind it. Just make sure your text font color is still legible. Once you've picked all your colors and it's looking beautiful, you just come over here to configure. And you don't really need to worry about all of these things. It's a little bit more complex, not something that you really need to worry about. You can rename it here. You can turn the Typeform branding off if you're on a paid account, but it doesn't really matter. Everyone loves Typeform, so it's not really a big problem. The redirect is a paid option. When you've kind of had a look over there and you're sure there's nothing that you need to worry about, you just go over to share, and it's as simple as copying this link. Now, I would always recommend transferring that to a bit.ly link just so it's a little bit shorter, but you're more than welcome to just use that link. And essentially all you'd have to do is press copy and you're now ready to use it.